Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Before I get to our guest here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. We greatly appreciate it. We have Alicia Ciak here on the show with us. She's coming to us all the way from Minnesota, a little bit above me. I'm all the way in the Bloomington area for anyone who doesn't know, but she's all the way up in the Fargo-Moorhead area. First of all, Alicia, I'd like to say it's very great to have you on the show, and we're really excited.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. It's an honor.
Absolutely. So why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory on what inspired you to adapt that healthy and fit lifestyle? What was your motivation?
Well, as a sophomore in high school, I actually was competing on the dance team. So I was really into dance. I did it for about 8 years. But then once I got into my high school dance team, I made the varsity team my freshman year. But then I also ended up tearing my hamstring really bad. And I didn't know that it was my hamstring at first. I just thought that it was a pulled muscle. And so I repetitively tore it multiple times because I was stubborn too.
Yeah.
I was on the varsity team as a freshman and I didn't want to let the team down, is what I thought. And so then I went basically into physical therapy and then tried going back into it, but then ended up re tearing my right one and then tearing my left hamstring too. And I was basically told by my doctor that I would have to either quit dance or wait until my hamstring eventually tore off the bone and have surgery. And by then, as a 16-year-old, my parents were like, yeah, you're done. This is it. And so for me, that was it was eye opening for sure because dance was my life. It was everything that, as a high schooler, sports your life, whether that's basketball or football or anything. And so to hear that I couldn't do that, I was completely crushed. I felt lost. And I kind of felt like it was a huge identity shift for me because I was like, who am I? What am I passionate about and everything? And in that kind of dark moment of my life, it kind of led me to realize, if there's one thing that I can control in this situation, it's my health and it's up to me if I'm going to stay healthy. And so every single day I started getting up, I started working out at my house because I'd never been to a gym before, never lifted weights or anything. That completely terrified me. And I started working out at my house every day after school. And then I just cut out all of the junk food. I was like, okay, I need to start making better choices with my diet too. And that's kind of when I started researching kind of like fitness and like how to get a six pack and all of that kind of thing that everyone looks for, especially women, how to get a tight stomach. And so I started cleaning up my diet and everything, exercising consistently, and that's kind of where it started. And after a few months though, I got really bored working out at my house. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't that much to do. We have like a little fitness center with some dumbbells and stuff, but that really only goes so
Mm.
far. And so that's kind of when I started to get interested in a gym, but I was still really terrified. So I went to my local gym that's about, it was like 15 minutes away from my house, so not too bad. Went there, got a membership, and was completely terrified. But then I went in there my first day, I remember, and I just took a deep breath because you see all these guys pumping iron and everything, and you get really intimidated as a woman, I know, and I know a lot of other women feel like that in the gym. And I just said, okay, every single day I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna like stretch outside of my comfort zone a little bit more every day. I'm gonna go try this machine, or I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna read the directions, I'm gonna teach myself how to do it. And that's kind of how I started. And I did have some help from a personal trainer here and there in the beginning to like teach me how to squat right and everything. And I think that that's so important too to prevent injury. But then that's kind of where it all started. I had a trainer for a while, but now I currently don't work with a trainer in person just because I feel like after 2 years, I kind of have a good sense of everything.
And that's awesome. And I always sort of like to make the analogy where if you were to walk into a gym with 100 people, there's 100 different ways people got the way that they look, whether it comes to their
Yeah.
nutrition, whether it comes to their diet, how many reps they do, what exercises they do. It's just so many different components. Was that hard for you at first, finding out what worked best for your body, knowing that like if you go up to someone and you ask them, what can I do to make myself look better? It's going to be a different answer for everyone because everyone's body is different. Was that hard for you?
Yes, absolutely. I am the type of person where I need to have a structured plan all the time and I need to just be so organized. And so I would ask trainers and stuff, how many calories do you want me to eat a day? How many meals? How much protein should I get? How much carbs? Like, I was going all in. I was like, I want to know the secret formula. should I eat potatoes? Oh, I heard potatoes are bad, and it was all these fads, which potatoes aren't bad. Potatoes are completely healthy, but you hear all these exercise fads all the time. And, like, is keto the way to go? And am I supposed to have breakfast or not, And so you really find out, though, towards the end, like I can say personally from 2 years of experience, there is no right way to do it. You just have to experiment and go through trial and error and find out what works best for your lifestyle. Because even like right now, the way that I'm doing things is a lot different from how I started out, especially as a college student. Like, my lifestyle is completely different from someone who's like 25 and has a standard job. So you just have to find out what works for you and just not get so overwhelmed with everything too. I think that's what stops a lot of people from getting in and starting a healthy lifestyle. Like, they want to start, but they just get so overwhelmed that they're like, why should I even try? And it's just about taking little steps every single day. Like, maybe today you're going to have a healthy breakfast, or maybe today you're going to have an extra glass of water. It's just focusing on those small improvements every day and then turning it into a lifestyle. That's the key.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more with that. And when you were getting started out, did you find that your body adjusted really, really quickly to the working out, or was it more of a time process where it took a little bit longer?
Well, as I mentioned, I was already in sports, so I've always kind of been in shape throughout my whole life too, and that's just a blessing that I've had to with support of my parents putting me in sports and stuff. But to weightlifting, that's a completely different thing. So for sure, my body has transformed so much, and that is honestly just consistency. It's going to take time. If you want to build muscle, it takes time. It takes dedication, time, effort, and nutrition is number one. And I really wish that's something that I wish someone actually would have told me to focus on first, is that I get a lot of people that come up and ask me, like, how could I start? How often should I work out? How long should I work out? And I literally tell them every single time, focus on your nutrition first. If you were to focus on your nutrition for just the first week, maybe get in like some exercise that you enjoy here and there for the first week, you're going to see so much more results if you just focus in on your nutrition, because that plays 80% at least of your results.
Absolutely. It's just the nutrition aspect. Like they always say, abs are made in the kitchen, just stuff like that. It is
Mm-hmm.
so important that a lot of people
Yes.
don't really understand. And one of the myths that we love to bust on this show is that it's gotten better, I'd say, over the last 5 years because of Instagram, but there still is this belief among some women where if they go and touch one weight, they're just going to hulk out, put on 50 pounds overnight. And I always say, if that's the case, sign me up. I want to see that happen. But you kind of mentioned before that you were kind of a little afraid too when you were starting out with the weight training. How did you overcome that? And also for people, I bet you probably heard this 100 times, women come up and say stuff like that to you. How do you usually respond?
Oh, absolutely. I've heard it all the way from the start. I don't want to look manly. That's a huge thing. Like, I've had a lot of women come up to me and they ask me if I just lift legs and I like skip arm day. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, yes, I love leg day. I want to grow, women, we want to grow our glutes and our legs. We want to have nice legs, but you got to train your upper body because we want to be evenly proportioned. And ladies, train your shoulders, because if we have nice shoulders, it gives the illusion of a smaller waist. So it's a win-win. But as far as weightlifting, we don't have the hormones in our bodies, the level of testosterone that men do to make us look manly. We have estrogen, we're women, we will not look manly unless you take some type of steroid, which is more common with like competing, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But if you're just going to the gym, you're weightlifting, I do personally a push-pull leg split. So I do pushing movements, that's going to hit mostly like your shoulders, and then pulling movements is going to be doing like pull-ups, hitting your back and your buys. So I train arms. I hit both of those twice a week. So that's at least like 4 days a week. And I do 2 heavy leg days. And I don't think I look manly at all.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, does she look manly at all? And she's been working out for how many years?
Man. Yep,
Yeah.
2
Jeez.
years.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's a total myth, because I see it all the time in the gym too. I see women, they're so consistent. I love it. But they come and they go on the cardio machines every single day. And I'm like, how could you do that? Like, I hate cardio. No one likes cardio. And it's like, unless you like run marathons, like if you love that, good for you. I respect you. But the majority of people do not like cardio. And for me,
Guilty.
I'm like, if I had to do cardio, if that was like the only way of fitness, I would not be fit. Like I just, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's such a myth, and I want more women to experience how freaking great it feels. I feel strong, amazing, and just weightlifting in general is so good for us to give our bodies that resistance training and for our bones.
And well, the worst thing for me too is when you see, especially women, but also with guys too, where you see those people that are just so genetically built, where you're just like, if you just touch one weight, just imagine what you could look like. But then, especially women, like some women are born with like really big like calves, or they're born with really big arms, and
Yeah.
they think it's a bad thing. They think it's such a curse. They're like, oh my god, I'm so like gross or
No.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me? It's. I mean, first of all, if I was born with naturally big arms, I'd be just the happiest person on the planet. But it's one of those things where you just gotta convince them. And what I did was I had a friend of mine who was in college, and she would always say to me, you know, like, I really want to go work out with you. I'm just afraid that I'm gonna get too bulky. I don't want to look, you know, huge. And then I finally just told her one night, I said, look, the amount of weight that your purse weighs when we go out to clubs or when we go out to eat weighs more than a lot of the dumbbells in there, and you're not gaining any muscle from lugging that thing around 24/7. So then that kind of, you know, convinced her. It was funny. It made her laugh. And then, but it's one of those things where as soon as you get in there and I think start just lifting the weight, all the fear can kind of go away when you just realize like, oh hey, I'm not huge now after doing all of this. And like you were talking about before, like another big fear that I get all the time is girls are always afraid that there's going to be like these big 400-pound guys in there that are just going to be super intimidating and just make it really. But most people don't realize 99% of the people in there could care less that you exist because they're too busy on their own workout
Oh yeah,
to really pay attention to you.
exactly. Serious people like in the gym, we're all in our zone. We're all doing our own thing. We're all trying to just get our workout and do it the best that you can. And I always say if there is one person that's looking at you, especially girls, if it's a guy, he's probably thinking, "Damn,
Mm-hmm.
like you're looking good." Like it's a compliment. And if someone is really low to where they're really staring at
Mm-hmm.
you or doing something really rude, it's probably one because they feel like really insecure themselves, and if they have to tear you down, like shame on them.
Yep.
Don't let that ruin your day. But the majority of people, we're all in there for one reason. We all want to live a healthy lifestyle, put on some muscle, and just grind. And so most of the time, like 98% of the time, people aren't really watching you. And that's something that I have learned personally myself, because I remember I go into the free weight section. I still do this today. I go in there, and most of the time, 99% of the time, it's me lifting with a whole bunch of other guys, and I'm the only female. Before, did that scare me? Yeah, it scared like the living crap out of me. I felt so intimidated. I thought, oh my God, I'm doing this movement wrong. Am I doing something wrong? You know, are they going to look at me and be like, oh my God, she's not even, do you even lift? You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, when I first started out, I could barely squat the 45-pound bar. And now I'm up to lifting more than I weigh. And it's just like, holy crap. You just have to start though, and no one's judging you at all. You just have to focus on your goals personally. Put on some headphones, put on a sweatshirt, put your hood up, put on a cap, and just grind.
Is it a good feeling though for you? Like obviously you're not like I'm 6'3" myself, so I stand out like a sore thumb whenever I walk into a gym. But being you, I mean you're not like super tall, you're not super huge. Does that
Mm-mm.
how great of a feeling
I'm
is that?
tiny.
Yeah, how great of a feeling is that when you walk into a weight room and people just might assume that you might not be as strong, and then you put up like some really heavy weight and people just get really really shocked. Is that a great feeling for you when you see that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people are kind of surprised, especially if they don't know me, because I get told, you know, like, oh, like you're because I'm barely 5'2". I'm 5'2" and a
Mm-hmm.
half maybe, and weigh right now I'm like 110 pounds. So I'm pretty tiny, but I can throw up some
Yep.
weights. Like I will let you like, and so I'll get there and there'll be all these other guys, and I think they get really surprised too, because they might look at me at first and be like, oh, it's your basic girl that's gonna just go jump on the
Mm-hmm.
stairmaster and do cardio, and I just go in there and I'll bust out a really intense leg
Mm-hmm.
session. But I mean, for me overall, I mean, the opinions of others doesn't matter
Yep.
to me. But I really do think that it's probably surprising to see someone like me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, going and throwing up some weight. So I do get a little chuckle out of that.
I was gonna say, like, I was looking through some of her Instagram before we had her on, and she was just there was one video where she was just racking out a ton of pull-ups, and I was like, damn, that's super impressive. So it's even me, I was like, wow, that's awesome. So at what point in your journey did you decide to compete? How long into working out before you decided, like, hey, this might not be that bad of an idea?
Well, from the first day I actually got into fitness, I've always wanted to compete. It was on the back burner, but for like a long time, I was like, okay, if I want to get into competing, I need to put on some muscle, because when I first got into uh, healthy lifestyle and everything, I went hard, like way harder than I should have. I was working out 6, 7 times a week. I wasn't eating nearly as much as I should have been. So I got really skinny really fast. I was like a pencil. I didn't even have a butt anymore. It was so sad. And then I got into the gym and I started lifting more, and then my drive to compete kind of started roaring more because I got more into the split, like leg day and all of that. And I was like, okay, I need to start eating more. And I was following more people on social media too, such as Heidi Somers, known as Buff Bunny, Jessica Revelo, Jessica Gretzky. I love all of those people. They're such huge inspirations to them. And I noticed, I'm like, holy crap, they eat a lot of food. Like, oh my God, they have, like chicken, rice, and just all the like basic, like healthier options that you can go for. And I was like, holy crap, I can eat that food and I can still be fit. So then that's kind of when I noticed more on nutrition and then started lifting and everything. But it wasn't until actually this past October that I competed in my first show. So I ended up prepping for that show for quite some time. It was a total of 18 weeks.
Wow.
And so, yep. So I did. I always like doing some summer challenges. I would enroll in like 8-week summer challenge and stuff by fitness people that I followed just to challenge myself. I continuously like pushing and challenging myself. And then after that, I was like, okay, I want to go. I need to do a show. I need to prove to myself that I can go through this prep. I can push myself to my limits. And it was just insane. So I ended up jumping on a prep last minute and getting a coach for that. And it ended up being, a total of 18 weeks that I was on prep, which is just, it was way longer than normal prep would be. But then again, it was my first show. And so I really think it's important to give your body that amount of time to dial down, because you're cutting body fat, you're cutting calories, cardio gets extreme, and it's just something that as a first-time competitor, my body's never experienced before. So it was under a lot of stress. So I'm really happy that I took that time out to get a good coach, because that's another huge thing. Get a good coach, and then give your body some extra time to dial down.
Absolutely. That's one of the things I cannot stress most is the dial down time, which, I mean, we'll talk about in a little bit, but I was going to first ask, when you're competing, one of the questions that I love to ask is, I have a lot of up-and-coming bands, and I have a lot of health and fitness people, and just that experience of stepping on stage, what is that feeling like for you, or what was that feeling like for you your first time out there? I mean, you've worked, like you said, you worked 18 weeks on a prep to get ready for it. What was that like to finally be able to step on stage and present yourself?
It was by far the greatest thing that I have experienced in my fitness journey. And not everyone, competing is not for everyone. I'm going to say that right now. And you have to have like the right thing in mind, especially too, that I want to put out there, especially for women, because first of all, if you're like competing in a show because you want to change your body, don't compete. That's a huge thing, I think, for a lot of people. And that's something that I had to continuously remind myself, was that I am restricting calories for a reason, and I am doing all of this for a reason. It's not like sustainable, but to go up on stage and to show off all of your hard work, that meant everything to me. And especially, I'm a fully natural athlete too. I don't take any steroids or anything. And this past a little bit over a year ago, I actually went fully vegan, 100% vegan. I cut off all the animal products on my plate. And so for me to show that I can be a bikini vegan athlete, natural, that is just everything to me, because that's something that I wanted to prove to myself. And just this past year has been so much full of change and growth for my physique and just myself mentally too, with going more of a plant-based diet. It's been the best decision that I've ever made for myself. And no, it has not made me drop weights or anything. My gains have just increased from it.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
You literally read my mind, because I was just going to bring up the vegan thing, because most people, they think of bodybuilders, they just think of people that just live off of chicken and live off of beef and just pour it down and maybe like
That's
rice,
what I
but
did.
that's what I still do every once in a while. But when it comes down to being vegan, what were some healthy substitutes that you had that still got your protein intake? Because most people, when they think about those muscle building things, they obviously do think about, the meats, but what were some substitutes that you made for that?
Oh, for sure. Okay. There's so many, you guys. I'm telling you right now, I always have the problem of going over my protein almost every single day. There's protein in vegetables. I know, it's insane. Like we're not grown up and we're taught that. I didn't even know that.
Hmm.
But things that are higher in protein for plants are beans. So like kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils, all of that. Those are full of fiber, full of protein. I also okay, I know this is gonna sound weird, but I love tofu. And before I was like, because it's like it looks really weird, but I have a whole bunch of recipes on my YouTube channel
Hmm.
and my Instagram too of how to make tofu. And I use it in the air fryer, or you can bake it in the oven, get it nice and crispy, put seasonings on it, do Asian stir fries. Those are amazing. And another one, I like tempeh too, and that's just it's made from soybeans too, both of those products. And then even just vegetables like broccoli, spinach, they're all packed with protein. When transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle though, a lot of people don't get in their protein because they don't realize you have to eat more. Actually, you have to eat high volume foods. And at first I was like, whoa, I don't want to eat all that food. I'm going to gain weight, I'm going to put on fat. No, you aren't. It's no A plant-based lifestyle, whole foods plant-based diet is very low in saturate. There is no saturated fats at all, actually. So low fat, and then also eating like nuts and seeds too. Those are really high in protein. And then occasionally, I have like a veggie burger and other things like that. If I'm going out to eat or something. But other than that, I mean, the core of my meals comes from whole foods. And if you eat enough of them and in the right amount, you will hit your protein. Bean pastas are also really good too.
Absolutely, and I was going to bring it up at the end, but everyone, yes, go and follow her YouTube channel. I'll leave the link down below. She has some really, really great stuff. I highly, highly recommend it. And when you're also talking about, those substitutes, because vegan is just, I mean, most people, there are vegan bodybuilders, I've seen dozens of them,
Nimai
but it's just,
Delgado,
yeah,
guys.
they,
Men out there, if you think I'm crazy, go look up Nimai
yeah.
Delgado. He has never eaten meat in his entire life, and he is the biggest bodybuilder I have ever seen. And Simnet Nutrition, too. He's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about never eating meat in my life though, just because I mean you gotta have one hamburger, dude. That guy's gotta just have one hamburger and just see if you like it. But yeah, I mean being vegan, it is such. I mean when most people think about that, people don't think that you can be a bodybuilder with that. But it's just so great that we're having people that can prove that obviously you can compete in shows and you can be good at what you do by doing vegan. It's all just about the proper nutrition and the choices that you make with your food. And when you adapted the weightlifting lifestyle, what would you say was the biggest obstacle nutrition wise that you had to overcome?
It's just so hard in general at first once you're starting out, because especially now with hearing about all of the fad diets that go around, you don't know, because like I said before, you think when starting out that there's a right way to do it. And so you're like, okay, some people they go the route of, carbs are bad. I think we give carbs a negative stigma, when no, it's you have to eat the right type of carbs, like the complex carbohydrates with the fiber. And so for me, I was kind of like, okay, do I eat carbs? Do I do keto? Do I only eat 1,200 calories a day? It was really just a huge misconception, because right now, even with social media, I hate to say it, but a lot of, misconceptions with diet arise from it. And especially if you follow other fitness people, you kind of see what they're doing. And then you're like, oh, is that the right way to do it? But it just comes down to trial and error and seeing what works best for you and your lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, if you're not happy with what you're doing, you will not stay consistent with it. And that's where a lot of people fall off track.
Absolutely. And I always love to ask because we have so many different guests on the show. We have so many different locations, but I mean, I've had guests from all over the world. We're both from Minnesota. It can get very, very cold, as we both well know. What are some tips and tricks that you use? Because when it's cold outside, I mean, the body just naturally. I mean, we're not hibernating animals, but the body basically just wants to sit down and Netflix and chill basically all day. Or that's at least
Oh,
that's
yeah.
at least my body. What are some ways that you use in order to motivate yourself to get off that couch and get that workout in, even when your body's naturally telling you just like, no, we're not working out today.
Oh, well, okay. When I first started out, I remember when I first started on my fitness journey, it was towards the winter.
Hmm.
And I just told myself my one goal was that I was like, okay, this summer, really cliche, but I want to look good in a bikini.
Hmm.
And did I look good in a bikini before? Heck yeah, I did. Like, women, don't shame yourselves
Hmm.
for that. We always look freaking good. But I just told myself, like, I want to, like, have maybe, like, a little bit of abs, not super shredded, just a nice flat stomach. I want to be toned, So every single day I remember I would remind myself of that goal. I reminded myself of why I wanted it, why I started. I can't sit here and say that it's going to be easy and that I'm always motivated, because I'm not motivated. Today I did not want to go and train legs, but did I do it anyway? Yes. And I can tell you, every single time, you can't say that after a workout you'll never regret a workout that you did. And that is so true, because I felt so freaking good after it.
Unless you get injured.
Yep, yeah, unless you get injured. But other than that,
Yeah.
I mean, just writing down your goals and addressing them, especially in the winter, saying, okay, by the spring, I want to put on like lean muscle mass, or I want to do this and that. And meal prepping too, so huge, just in any aspect of keeping your nutrition on point. Because again, you guys, nutrition is number one. And I always hammer that with people. But I personally, I love working out right away in the morning. And again, this is not the right way to do it. This is just my body. I wake up and if I don't get my workout done in the morning, I'm not motivated throughout the whole rest of the day. Like, the later it gets, the more tired I get, and I just don't feel like it. So I like getting up in the morning, going to the gym. So I literally get up. I do this in college too. My first class is at 7:50 in the morning. I get up at 5 a.m. and I just go down to my car, and I grab my gym bag, because I have it packed by the door, grab my gym bag and just go down to my car. So then it's all packed and ready, and I have no excuse of not to get my workout in. And then on days that it's hard, I remind myself and I say, Alicia, you are gonna be so mad at yourself if you don't get that workout in, and you're not gonna want to do it later. And I'm like, yep, I'm right. And I just go to the gym, and I just don't let myself I don't let that negative voice talk me out of it, because I know at the end of the day that's excuses, and excuses aren't going to help us reach our goals. And one thing I remember, actually, Jessica Revelo, she brought it up on her page, that she calls the negative voice Monty Hall. It's just like, don't listen to Monty Hall. Don't let him talk it out or whatever. And I've just gotten to the point where I just don't even use the energy to listen to that voice. And when we do that and actually just choose to stick our headphones in, grind, and get it done, that's when progress is made.
Absolutely.
So it all just comes down to your insight, and mentality is by far the hardest thing in fitness, But if you can go into your workout and just get a new playlist too. That's another thing that's helped me, is getting a new playlist, switching up your gyms here and there just to make the environment more interesting. It really keeps the motivation going.
I do have to give a warning out to people, though. If you are working out, it is really, really cold. Make sure that after you legs that you do not walk on any slippery surfaces. I learned that the hard way walking back to my dorm room.
Yeah.
About I had a half-mile walk to go back to my dorm, and it was really cold. And yeah, I slipped about 3 times, I think it was. So yeah, I learned the hard way, to make sure you don't walk in slippery surfaces on leg day. So yeah, that's another thing. And then also make sure if you do shower at the gym or you do wash or anything, make sure your hair is not wet when you're walking back either. That will not be a good experience, too, if you have your hair basically frozen by the time you get back. So make sure that you follow the simple things. But yeah, working out when it's cold outside, it's very, very doable. And I always use the example too. It's like, what else are you going to do if it's that cold outside? There's nothing really else to do. So might as well get a good workout in.
Yeah. And summer body, come on, our summer bodies are built in the winter.
Absolutely.
You gotta prep those.
Absolutely. And you also, we've talked about this a lot, but you are in college. What are some ways that you use in order to still maintain that? Because I know you said that you were very strict and you have your time, you're on point, you get the workouts done early, but still being in college, you're going to have choices where it's going to be, go out or work out or just do other things. Have you found it hard to sort of balance that between not just working out all the time and still maintaining a bit of a social life?
Oh, for sure. Okay, when I first started college, actually, the first few months, because my show was in October, I started my classes in August. So for the first part of college, I was on prep. So I can say I did not have a life. I didn't have a social life. And on top of that, I'm also competing on my college's speech team too. So I'm busy with that during the week. And I did not have a life. When you have to go and do heavy weightlifting sessions, an hour and a half of cardio every single day, and eating out of my little mini refrigerator with my Tupperware, having all my meals weighed out. You don't have that much of a life. But right now, after my show, I have a ton more free time, which is great because, I'm getting my energy back. I can actually have a social life here and there. But yeah, there are some situations, where I really think with college, you have to choose what your priorities are. And for me, I can say that, for a lot of college kids, health and wellness and getting in their workouts, it's not like a typical priority of people. Like you want to, I've been talking to a lot of college people, they want to be healthy, but they still, they struggle because you have, oh, I have a party here I could go to, or, you walk into the cafeteria, like I have a meal plan, you see all this food, there's pizza every single
Yes.
day. You don't have your parents telling you, oh, get your vegetables on your plate, so there are those temptations there. But for me, again, just coming down to, I'm just so focused in on my goals and what I want, and for me, I'm also an exercise science and nutrition major, double major. I love health. It's my life. So does that make it easier for me? Yes, in a sense, because I love eating healthy too. It makes like a plant-based lifestyle too, like I've mentioned, makes me feel amazing. I remind myself. But then here and there, it's like I'm not on point 100% of the time. If I have a craving here for chocolate, I'm gonna have some chocolate. It's creating a balanced lifestyle. Balance is so important because if you're too hard on yourself, you're not going to stay consistent. Again, you have to be realistic to yourself. So make a plan that you can stay consistent with, but then give yourself a couple days here and there where, okay, I'm going to go out with friends, or I'm going to eat that burger, I'm going to have that milkshake. It's a lifestyle.
I mean, you couldn't have said it any better yourself. And at what point in your journey did you decide that you wanted to help out others? How long did it take before you said I think I've got enough where I can really benefit others with my knowledge?
Well, I've always known that I've always loved helping people, but it wasn't until I had that hamstring injury that I was introduced to fitness that I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. And that's why I see my injury now as a blessing. I look back on it and I'm like, I'm so blessed that I tore my hamstrings and that I went through that, because even though that door closed, I would have never found my passion and purpose of nutrition and health and helping others. And I know that now because I've known that since I was 16 years old now, that I was going to go to college, I was going to be a double major, and that I was going to continue my career with that. And so that's another just huge motivation factor for me, is that every single day when I wake up, I'm living my purpose. I want to get closer to helping as many people as I can, just create a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. I'm not going to promote and say that everyone has to go vegan. That's not my message. My message is just, let's create a healthy lifestyle. Let's eat more plants and let's thrive together.
Yeah, that's just such a great message. And now we go to our audience favorite part of the podcast and my favorite part of the podcast, the questionnaire. Where I'm going to ask Alicia here about a dozen or so questions and see how she stacks up to the other health and fitness guests that we've had on the podcast. So for our first question, what is your go-to workout song at the moment?
Oh, this is so hard. I don't know. Gosh, I would just say like, yeah, I love G-Eazy. Like, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
huge G-Eazy, but it depends because on leg day I go totally Nicki Minaj.
Oh,
Like,
yep.
she's just my girl, and I go on that. But then on any other day, I'm huge on rap music. Just any rap playlist. I just need to do that. I put in my headphones and I grind, and I just need to have that.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've heard such a variety of things. I mean, I've never heard country. For some reason, country just doesn't get people fit.
No,
And I agree with
oh
that.
my
I agree with
god,
that 100%. I was like, if you listen to country and work
it's
out, that's
in.
dedication. That's
Oh
dedication right
god,
there.
no.
Yeah, that should be torture. If someone competes,
Yeah.
that's just pure torture. But now,
Oh
out of
yeah.
all the celebrities on the planet, if you could work out with any celebrity, who would it be?
Ooh.
I gotta say, when this gets published, you'll be probably like our 53rd, I think, health and fitness guest, and about 45 of them, I think, have chosen The Rock. So that is by far our most popular answer.
That's who I was kind of
Yeah,
thinking. I'll go with The Rock too. That'd be
yeah,
pretty lit.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
Oh
would
yeah. And then
that
for
would
the
be insane.
song, I think if I had to choose one song, I would do "Natural" by Imagine Dragons,
Oh, yep.
because that was the song I listened to 2 weeks out from my show. When things are 2 weeks out from a show, things are by far the hardest. You're doing the most amount of
Yep.
cardio. You're at your lowest amount of calories and stuff. And I just listened to that song, and I was like, "This is my purpose. Like, push through, get through."
Now we got another tough question coming up though. Out of all the celebrities on the planet, if you could train any celebrity, who would it be?
Ooh. um. Hmm. It's just weird because when I think of celebrities, I think of like all of like the health and
Mm-hmm.
fitness people that I
Yep.
follow, which is weird because like other people might not consider them like celebrities, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would just like to probably just train with Bianca Taylor. She's
Oh yeah.
Nimai Delgado's girlfriend, but
Hmm.
she is like queen.
Yeah.
She is awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome too. So now, what is one item that you always need to have in your fridge?
Ooh, fruit. Just any fruit.
What
I
is
love fruit.
what is your favorite fruit though out of all of them?
Oh gosh. Bananas by far. They are
Ooh.
so good for providing our body with energy, glycogen, potassium. They are muscle building foods.
Yeah,
Bananas.
those are one of the few fruits that I actually enjoy. I just don't like. I don't know. I'm very very weird when it comes to that. But yeah, bananas, apples, and grapes are basically like the
Oh,
only
I eat
things
so much
for
fruit.
me.
That's another
Yeah.
thing a lot of people, big misconception
Mhm.
with fruit is people think, oh my God, I need to avoid it because it's so much sugar. If you are told by that by your trainer, please get a new trainer.
Yep.
They don't know what they're talking about. Fruit is all natural sugar. I was eating fruit all the way up to the day of my show. Literally, I eat at least one banana every single day. I have so much fruit all
Mhm.
day, every day. It's not going to make you gain weight. It's not going to make you lose your abs or anything.
Absolutely, and I've heard that many times too, and I can back that up too. That is 100% accurate. And now, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Ooh, anything chocolate. I'm such a chocolate girl.
Yeah,
Dairy
chocolate.
free, of course, but
Yeah,
yeah,
chocolate chip cookie
chocolate.
dough blizzard for me at Dairy Queen. I'm sorry.
Oh,
That that is. I mean, I limit myself to once a month just because I know that like I'll probably weigh
you'll go
500
hard
pounds
on
if I
these
keep going. Yeah,
snacks.
yeah, absolutely. I would go overboard if I could, but you gotta have your limitations. But what is one thing that people who follow you on Instagram would be surprised to know about you if they met you in person?
Um, are they following me?
Well, they don't have to, but like if one person who just like only saw your photos on Instagram and only just knew you from that, what would be one thing that they would be surprised about you if they met you in person?
I was gonna say at first that I would be vegan
Yeah.
because still a lot of people follow me on Instagram, but a lot of people don't know that I'm
Mm-hmm.
vegan. But then probably either that or that I love public speaking.
Oh yeah.
I love that. I love getting up in front of people and just talking. And I know that's a huge fear
Yep.
among our country too. But yeah, just I would probably just say how outgoing and loud I can be, and just
I'm one of those weird people too. Absolutely, where I
yeah,
just I just like getting up in front of people, and that's a huge advantage too. Because especially when you're giving speeches, like so many people don't want to do them, and if you're the one person that wants to do them, that's just a huge advantage that you can have over others. So absolutely. And now, what was the last TV show that you binge watched?
it was The Haunting on Hill House. It's on.
Oh,
I think I'm saying that right, but it's
yeah.
on Netflix. Oh yeah, I love scary movies, and it's just Halloween was just over, but there
Mhm.
was a ton of good scary movies on, so
Yeah,
you
I
got to take advantage.
I heard about that, so I'm definitely gonna have to go and check that out because I heard it is very good. But what is your favorite TV show of all time?
TV show or like series?
Can we can do both? So you'll do TV show and then you can do series if you want.
Well, in general, mm, it's hard. TV show. I I mean, in general, I just love any scary
Mhm.
movies, but I'm also really into Grey's Anatomy too.
Yep.
I'm really basic like that, and so I was really happy when season 14 finally came on Netflix. So I love Grey's Anatomy and all that. But honestly, I can also be a really big nerd and say that I've watched all of the nutritional
Oh
documents
yeah.
on Netflix. I've seen all of them. I have watched like What the Health. That was a huge one. That's
Yep.
what made me actually really start thinking about a plant-based diet, because before it was kind of lingering and I was like, because it's been a huge rise here in the past few years, and I've heard about it. But after watching that movie, I was like, okay, I need to do some serious research.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, Grey's Anatomy, that's actually the second time we've had that answered because that I would normally never say that, but yeah, that is such a great show. And I gotta ask, what is your favorite horror movie?
Oh, I love the Conjuring series.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to watch all of them in order. But yeah, The Conjuring. I recently just went and watched the next one that came out. It was
Mhm.
The Nun. Very scary.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm one of those people where I like the original Halloween is mine, hands down. But like, I'm one of
Ooh.
those weird people where if it's not something that I could believe could actually happen, it doesn't really scare me. So like when I see like movies like The Conjuring and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, that's not happening.
Oh, you don't believe in ghosts?
Oh no, no, no. So when I see
Oh,
stuff like that,
okay.
I was like, okay, it's special effect.
Oh,
But
that
like, but
stuff
like
freaks you out.
a masked man like Michael Myers, like breaking out of an insane asylum and killing people, like that stuff could actually
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
So like when
Yeah.
it's movies about stuff that like could actually like physically happen, where you're like, oh yeah, someone could actually. That's when I get a little freaked out, where I'm just like, oh, gotta watch myself before I go to bed, or make sure all the lights are turned on sometimes. Yeah, it's so yeah for me Halloween, but yeah, horror movies are by far my favorite genre too. I mean, I love just getting that extra sort of like adrenaline rush that they give you. It's such a great feeling. But now, what is your favorite fashion trend of all time and least favorite fashion trend of all time?
Ooh, fashion trend. I don't know. I feel like I'm not in the fashion world. Like I wear workout clothes like
Yeah.
the entire day. I don't I don't know. Well, it's weird because people here in like Minnesota, it's
Mhm.
going to be a lot different. But I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of them, but those sandals that everyone wears, those
Uggs?
Burka. No, it starts with a B, and it's like they
Burkas
have
maybe, I think.
yeah Birkins or whatever.
Yeah.
God, those are so ugly. I
Yeah.
don't like them, and literally everyone wears them. It's just these sandals here, and it's probably not even that popular around other
I
states, but
don't
here,
think
like,
so either.
everyone wears them, and I'm like, they look like man shoes.
Mhm.
Like, to me, I'm just like, this is not feminine at all. And
Absolutely.
I don't know, like, my favorite fashion trend. I mean, I really like the one piece
Mhm.
thing that's going on, just one pieces. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I really like how one piece body swimsuits are coming in, too.
I'm gonna be
That's
your typical Minnesota guy and just say like flannel probably is my favorite, just because I mean, especially during the winter
Oh, I
time.
never even thought about that. See,
Yeah.
yeah, I love flannel, too.
Yeah, that's gotta be up there. But now, what is one thing that you would change about the sport of bodybuilding if you had the all-knowing power to do it?
Like competing?
Yeah.
Or, um, I personally would say how they, because when you get into like NPC shows, especially like above um, once you get like your pro card and you're in all of that, there's a lot of using steroids is just
Mhm.
very common. Like if you're not using steroids, people almost don't believe you.
Mhm.
And to me, I honestly wish I could change that. I really wish that there could be 98% of all natural bodybuilders, and then because you're always going to have at least like 1% of people that just aren't natural, but I wish there was a higher percentage of natural athletes in the community. I think it's doing a lot better and that there's a lot more coming in, but I just think when we're competitors and stuff, like we're being role models for people. Like we need to show people the right way to live a healthy lifestyle. We need to be good role models. And to me, like steroids and all of that, it's just not. It's directing people in the wrong direction, and just doing another fad diet.
Yeah, such a huge thing. And now, if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
Oh, historical figure. Hmm. Can you like name off some lists of people for me? I'm
We get a lot of like George Washington's, Thomas Jefferson's. Jesus was a couple of ones that we had too. Some people said like Linda Murray, even though she's still alive. So I was like, okay, that's whatever. I was like, she's still alive. You can still do that. But then we've had a lot of U.S. presidents, or a lot of Rasputin was one that we got, and I was like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, just a lot of, it's usually a presidents or like very very important historical figures. But like yeah, if you had your pick of everyone that's ever lived, like who would probably be the one person that you would find would be the most interesting to sit down and have a chat with over dinner?
I would say I'd probably go with Jesus. Actually,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd
it's
be
really it's weird because that kind of scares me, but yet it's like intriguing.
yeah, that'd
It's
be
just,
weird.
I have no idea.
To
Yeah,
actually meet him. Yeah, that would be definitely, yeah,
yeah.
I'd be freaking out for sure. Yeah. So yeah. So my last question I usually like to ask, but it doesn't really apply to you, because I usually like to ask, if you could go back in time and talk to the 18-year-old version of yourself, what would be the best piece of advice you would give them? That's not
19.
really traveling too far. So that's
Yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and skip that. So we're done now with the questionnaire segment, but now we're going on. What would you say is the number one myth or misconception that you get from people who don't want to adapt that healthy and fit lifestyle?
The top misconception. There's like two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Misconception. Um, Let me think. I would say that. Can I give two of them that I think
Absolutely.
most common? Okay. So first one is I don't have time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like okay. you can't say that because we make our priorities. We have time for our priorities. Like at the end of the day, we're all busy and it just comes down to how bad you actually want it. So when people tell me like I don't have time, I mean, I'm not rude about it. I just say, okay, but then you just have to think like, okay, it's just not a priority in your life. And if you map down, and I realize that some people, they can't imagine putting one more thing in their schedule. And I totally get that. I'm there with you. But then just kind of looking at your schedule as a whole and saying, okay, I have 30 minutes here or I have 40 minutes here. Like that's what you just have to prioritize more. Sit down and then realize, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I have, an hour off here. I have my lunch break here, And then the other one I would say is eating healthy is expensive, and by no means is it expensive at all. We just have to become more aware and we have to become more educated about it too. And especially, I get that a lot with being plant based is, oh, it's too expensive, and it's like, actually no, it's not. I mean, I can make $1.50 meals for the entire week and I'm saving money. Buying frozen vegetables is way cheaper in a sense. Buying the fruits and vegetables that are on sale every single week. So just like little changes like that, it just comes down to, and then just eating the foods that you love.
I always say for the expensive thing too. I was like, rice is one of the least expensive things you can ever buy, and it's one of the things
Oh
that can
yeah,
fill you up more
yeah.
than anything.
Rice, potatoes, you can
Oh
buy a
yeah,
big bag,
yeah,
and they
it's
fill you up
ridiculous.
too.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is ridiculous by far. And when you're talking with people or when you're getting those new clients, what are some ways that you sort of make sure that they realize the nutritional aspect? Because like I always say, you could work with someone for years on years and they can do all the workouts with you, but if you don't follow the nutrition, you are not going to get results. Or you might get a little bit of results, just it depends on how much you work out, but you will not get anywhere near the results you would get with good nutrition. How do you like to stress that to people, that just how important nutrition is?
Oh, like I said before, that's the first thing I tell them. Like even before working out, I'm like, okay, wait.
Mhm.
For this whole first week, like log everything, write down like everything that you eat, and then just really focus on your nutrition and drinking your water too. That's another thing that it's really hard. But I tell people, like if you're struggling for ideas, I would be more than happy to send you a free little layout of breakfast idea, lunch ideas, supper ideas, meals that I personally eat myself too, and just giving them like a little spreadsheet that's just go tos, what to avoid, and I just sit down and I ask them, what do you eat on a regular basis? What does your diet consist of? And then I say, okay, focus on like 80% of your diet coming from whole foods, natural foods that our body's going to recognize easier. They're going to be easier to digest. And then 20% of the time, throw in some things that you love to have in your diet here and there, because then it makes it sustainable too in the long run.
Absolutely, and with drinking all that water, I do have to warn people though. You might as well just live about 10 feet away from your bathroom, though. That's the only thing that I'm
Yep.
gonna say. That's one of the things that people don't realize. But yeah, you are going to have to use the bathroom a lot,
And
but it is
we're
so good for
supposed
you.
to be using
Oh
it a
yeah,
lot too.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. It's just one of those things too, where like that was a huge adjustment for me too. Like getting up in the middle of the night, or always just but it's something. It makes it definitely so worthwhile. And where do you see yourself in a year? What is the goal? Are you thinking about doing another show, and how soon are you thinking about it, or where would you like to see yourself a year from now?
Oh, well, for 2019, 2018 has been so amazing. It has been by far like I'd say like my best year. It was amazing. And so that makes me even more excited for 2019. I'm just finishing up. I actually purchased a program through NASM, which is National Academy of Sports Medicine. So I just have to go and take my test for that so I can be certified to train people. So I'm hoping to get fully certified by sometime in 2019. Right now, I will be competing again for sure. I do have a long term goal to get my pro card, but as of my next show, I'm unsure. Part of me, I could easily jump on a prep like right now. I could tell you that, but I really want to make sure that I'm going to bring an even better physique next show. For me, when I step on stage next, I want to beat the girl that was in that blue bikini myself. I want to look way better than I did before, and in order to do that, you need to take some time to grow muscle. And me, I'm 19 years old. I'm in like my prime right
Mhm.
now. I'm super young. My body can recover way quicker
Enjoy
than,
it while it
you know,
lasts.
Yep, exactly. And so right now I'm kind of in the state where,
Yep.
hey, I want to put on, I want to put on some muscle right now when my body can recover and everything like that. Recovery improvement season right now. I plan to do that until at least this summer, but who knows? I'm going to see how I feel, what my goals are and everything and how I'm looking. Sometime in 2019, I would like to compete and then get certified and stuff too, and then just start my own business and start building that up.
Absolutely. And like I always say, I mean, if you are young out there and you're watching this, enjoy it while it lasts. I just turned 24 and I'm starting to get to that age where you're going to need to, put in a little bit more work. I mean, I'm still at that young age where I can get away with a lot of things, but just enjoy it while it lasts. And are there any other ways other than your Instagram and your YouTube channel that people could get a hold of you if they wanted, some nutrition advice or they're looking for some training tips?
You could easily email me. I just have my email, aliciaciak@gmail.com. I would be happy to answer any questions or start you guys with a program or anything. I'm also on Facebook too, just Alicia Ciak, but my Instagram is just Alicia Ciak .fit, underscore fit, or yeah, that's what it is, .fit. And then, yep, just my YouTube channel too. I provide a whole bunch of content on meals that I eat every single day, workouts, tips and tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. I highly recommend everyone go and check that out. Before we wrap things up, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to?
I would just say all of my fitness people that I've been following for years now, as I mentioned before, Buff Bunny, Heidi Somers, Jessica Revelo, Nima Delgado, Simnet Nutrition, my coaches, my posing coach, my dietary coach, Jessica Gretzky, just everyone, because they're such big influencers for me and have helped me through so much too, along with friends and family.
Absolutely. And again, Alicia, we cannot thank you enough for coming on. It was really, really great talking to you. And we wish you nothing but the best. And if you have any, like you said, once you launch your program or once you launch your own brand or company, let us know. And we'd love to give you a plug. No questions asked. I love doing that to everyone that I have on the show. And again, you guys, go and give her a follow. Links for everything, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff down below. I highly recommend you go and give her a look. It will inspire you to get off the couch and maybe start, stop eating those Twinkies. But, that's all that this is all about. And again, we cannot thank her enough for coming on. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.